Safe to say I had my best thrift trip in a while over this past weekend, and it really only took one good round to make the entire trip. So I'm very excited to hop in and show you what I found at the Goodwill Outlet this weekend. Most of it I am going to flip online on eBay and Poshmark, but a couple things I am keeping. So I'm going to start off with what I'm keeping. Only two things. First is this quince sweater, which I think would probably be called eggplant. And then the other thing I decided to keep for myself is this Lululemon hat. I needed a good basic hat, and I love that it's not hugely branded with a big giant Lululemon logo. All right, and then hopping into the items I'll be selling on eBay and Poshmark. So this is a pair of Tailor Stitch men's shorts. They're a nice casual style short. It's one of those items that is currently out of season. So it might take a little while to sell, but there are also people who live in warmer climates, who go on vacations, things like that. This is a pretty cool find. So this is a Wrangler denim button-down shirt. I might use rodeo or western to describe the shirt, but one of the details I absolutely loved on this was the W on the pocket, which is how their actual jeans are. Like on the back, it has the W for Wrangler. And so I thought that detail was super cool on this shirt. And then also it has the pearl snaps, which are very on trend, great keyword. And so I'm going to make sure I use some really good keywords when I list this, and it should be a pretty good flip. I'm pretty positive it's a nice vintage one. Looked like an older tag, and it's in honestly excellent condition. All right, this is a Fjallraven t-shirt. Great brand to be on the lookout for. This is just a pretty simple one, being a t-shirt, but I would recommend being on the lookout for this little fox logo if you don't already know this brand, but it sells honestly pretty quickly every time I list it. I did have a little bit of a disappointing moment when it comes to Fjallraven when I went thrifting a couple days before this trip, where I only left with a few things, but I was standing at a new rotation with a bunch of people, you know, all around the bins, and they rolled the new bins out. Everybody has to wait until all the new bins are out, in case you don't know how the Goodwill Outlet works. But anyways, everyone was all lined up, and they wheeled the new bins out, and the person right next to me had a nice Fjallraven jacket right in front of them, and they were like checking comps on it or looking it up on eBay or something, because I'm nosy and definitely saw them like looking it up. So they were looking it up, and I was like, if you're not gonna grab that, like, I'll definitely take it. And she's like, no, I'm grabbing it. And I was like, okay, well, if you decide not to, like, just come find me, just, you know. Anyway, I knew she was gonna take it, and she should. All right, next up is this Outdoor Research button-down shirt. Nice soft knit. It's not quite a waffle knit, but I can't think of what this material is called. For some reason, when I was taking inventory on this item, I was like, what do you call this? I can't think of what it's called. Let me know if you know. It's kind of that like square knit. Maybe it is waffle knit and I'm just like drawing a blank, but this is a really nice pullover. I don't know if I called it a button down. It's definitely not a button down. It's a pullover with this like 3-4 button placket. Definitely a lot of men's items on this day. Was not finding many women's items, but you know, that's fine. Men's items sell great too. And this is another Tailor Stitch item. And this is actually a really cool pair of pants. They're a nice, thick, organic cotton, kind of have a yarn sort of a look to them, or just sort of a textured material. Really cool, size XL. I don't know, I'm a big fan of these. I just feel super high quality and just a really nice style. I think these will probably sell pretty quickly, so was super happy to come across not one, not two, but 3 Tailor Stitch items, but the third one I found had a hole in the back, so I did toss those back in the bins, but kind of was on a roll. I'm guessing the same person donated a lot of these items, to be honest. Then another men's pair of pants. These are some Lululemon joggers, really nice athletic jogger. And I think men's Lululemon does maybe even better than their women's. Maybe it's just because there's less of it like on the resale market, or it's just a little less saturated. Women's Lulu still does well, but I feel like men's Lululemon has historically just done well time and time and time again. So anytime I come across that at the bins, it's a good day, and I'm always happy to find it. And then speaking of, honestly, this is a thrift trip where that saying where it's like good things come in twos couldn't be more true. Another pair of Lululemon pants. This is, I think, the same style of Lululemon pants. They're a nice men's jogger. These are a size XXL. Really, honestly, great condition. They feel barely worn and just like they were kept in excellent condition, so we love that. Then this is a really great style to be on the lookout for when it comes to Patagonia, This is the women's Patagonia stand-up shorts, which are a nice vintage pair of shorts. I even picked them up with this flaw on the back. It's just like kind of a small, not even a full hole, just some, I guess, wear or distressing. But this is a size women's 12, and they are just a classic vintage pair of Patagonia shorts. I have sold the stand-up shorts before for $50. I don't know if you can tell, but the Patagonia tag is definitely an older one. But I recognize the style right away when I found these in the bins, and you just kind of know when they're vintage based on the feeling, the look, all of it. So when I came across these, I was very excited. Last time I found these was at a regular thrift store, and I paid like $6 or $7. So to find them for like $2, pretty exciting. Then this is a new to me brand, and please let me know in the comments if you have heard of this brand, if you have sold this brand. I would love to know. It's called Knickerbocker NYC or New York City. And I could just tell immediately based on the tag and the feeling of the item that it was something worth grabbing and looking into. I don't know much about this brand, but I will tell you the comps looked great on it. And then another good things come in twos moment, because I found this. Again, the brand looked good, the comps looked good. So gonna see how that one does. Let me know, please, how your thrift trips have been. If you've been thrifting, if you thrift just for yourself, if you thrift to resell. I really like to hear about your experiences in the comments, and I learn a lot from a lot of people who comment. So anything you can share like about these brands or anything new you've been finding, I'm always super appreciative to read those comments, and I'm sure other people are too. So thank you so much if you do leave comments that, you know, share your own experiences or share something helpful. I love to read them, so thank you. Then this one was actually a women's piece. I think I have 2 women's pieces out of this, maybe 3 out of this whole entire haul. This is a Jung Maven, which is a really good brand to be on the lookout for. It's just a pretty plain orange short sleeve shirt. But the good thing about Jung Maven is the quality of the materials they use. So this is 30% hemp and 70% organic cotton. So really nice materials. And I think people are on the lookout for this brand, like on the resale market, because it is a little bit pricier. I don't think I've ever sold just a plain t-shirt. I've had experience selling like maybe sweatpants, I want to say, and then a zip-up jacket or hoodie. So we'll see how this does. Definitely not expecting more than like 25 or so, but I can imagine that'll be a pretty quick mover once I do get it listed, just because of the high quality materials and, you know, people wanting to spend a little bit less on a more expensive brand on the resale market. And this is a good brand to be on the lookout for. Again, Buck Mason. This one I definitely wouldn't expect a ton for. Again, probably like $25 or so, but should move decently quickly. It's a nice men's white polo shirt. Good basic, size extra large. A lot of these are men's extra large, which makes me think that the same person donated a lot of their great items. So hopefully they decide to donate more of their great items. I think it's super fun when you find like somebody's whole closet that they basically donated. Then I am saving this best one for last, because my heart like literally skipped a beat when I found this, and I was just like so beyond excited. So this is an Anina Bing silk button-down shirt. This is a really great brand to know if you don't already know it. I think I saw it described as attainable luxury at one point, so I guess that's a good way to describe it, but their items definitely are pretty pricey and can do well on the resale market. I was just like so thrilled to come across it. I don't think it has a size. I wasn't able to find a size tag, so I will have to measure it, the armpit to armpit and the shoulder and hem, give the approximate measurements, and then just, you know, kind of like estimate the size based on those measurements. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much if you did make it to the end. I really appreciate anybody who watches my videos all the way through. That is super helpful for my channel. So thank you if you did make it to the end. And if you didn't make it to the end, let me know in the comments if you are staying in town for Thanksgiving or if you're traveling out of town for Thanksgiving. And also happy Thanksgiving. I hope you are able to spend it with some loved ones and just have a really relaxing day. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a very good rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video.